All right, guys, what's happening? Blazing Press here once again with you live on YouTube, covering what's happening here in the world. It seems like things are going from bad to worse, and from worse to extremely alarming. This is an alarming moment. I hope that you all understand how bad this is. You know, we've probably been so traumatized over so long that we've kind of built up an immune system to bad news. But, you know, there is certain news that should alert everybody on where this is actually going to take us to a different level. It's kind of like that quantum, you know, when Elon said, we're crossing over the event horizon into singularity. You know, that's talking about falling into a black hole of uncertainty. That's kind of where we're at right now, on the precipice of all-out war against the Muslim world. That's basically what this is. I mean, I don't know if Trump likes to troll the Muslim world, but that's kind of what he's been doing. You know, with the Trump Gaza video. I mean, that's so contrary to any of their religious beliefs anyway, not to mention Christian belief system. To have that kind of flaunted in people's face is an affront. It's an affront, and it causes a backlash. Whether you think that's cool or not, you think that you're fight. We're gonna show you the might of the U.S. I'm just gonna tell you, Tucker Carlson even said it today or yesterday that we're about to see. If this goes down in the world, we're about to see thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of casualties that are American. And it will come upon our own shores. This will not stay contained to the Middle East. Okay, this is not going to just stay contained to the Middle East. This is going to unleash the demons of hell is what's going to unleash. And, you know, Trump has promised hell would be released. You know, and if you're talking about Elon talking about going into the abyss of singularity, because he called it the abyss. When you talk about the black hole of event horizon, that is pretty much the abyss, if you ask me. So, you know, if you're good with that, and technology is of such a great thing that you think that it's taking place, that we're actually evolving, well, you're about to find out what evolution actually is. And it's not, in my book, the way I look at it, it's not a good thing. Yeah, Victory says, bad news don't even move me anymore. I wonder what to make for dinner tomorrow. Exactly. It's become something that's jaded us. We've become calloused. You know what's going to wake you up, Victory? And I'm talking to somebody in the chat named Victory. Is a big, bright as the sun mushroom cloud. That's what's going to wake everybody up. And then they're going to say, this is bad. When all of our supplies that we ship in start to trickle in, we don't get any, and it's going to make what happened during COVID look like nothing. Like just a little ripple. As Klaus Schwab would say, just a little ripple. What's coming now is a tsunami, and it's not happening in the future, it's happening now. What happened in COVID was a little ripple. We're coming into an angry world. We have to prepare for an angry world. Will you own nothing and be happy? Your freedom cities, as Trump likes to put it. You know, it's not a 15-minute city, it's a freedom city. And there's a reason why they're bringing down all these surveillance and control grids, which is what these cities are, control grid of surveillance with high-tech, you know, satellite, nanoparticles, everything is just all working toward your ultimate, every thought being scrutinized, whether or not you're allowed to live and exist on this planet. This is exactly what the Bible said would happen in the book of Revelation. This is the setup, what we're seeing right now, and a lot of people think this is a renaissance, as controlled opposition Alex Jones likes to put it. This is a renaissance. We're reaching into the stars. Yay, Team Humanity. Jesus is with us. God's kingdom is coming to this earth. You know, he mixes Christianity up with this whole occult ideology and this, you know, hermetic, the hermetic order of the Golden Dawn. This is exactly what is coming to earth. This is Aleister Crowley's dream being born right here. If you don't know what that is, it's happening. And it's been angry for a long time, yes, but it's about to get much angrier. Much angrier. It's gonna step it up a notch. You're gonna notice it. You're gonna notice the angry. It's gonna become very angry. Well, Israel is definitely pounding once again Gaza, and this is only going to stir up everything. It's not just what Israel's doing; it's what's being facilitated by Trump himself. And it's actually taking it to Iran. We're taking it directly to Iran, and what's going to come of that? I'm going to tell you what. It's called martyrs, and martyrs are something that facilitates a broader conflict and a greater sacrifice. And it's a call to all those who are Muslims. Now, is the Western world going to also have their own sacrificial system coming in to save the day? Yes, you can say you're going to be putting up your sons and your daughters as well, just like everybody and their brother is. Now, what's going to happen to the Israelis? I think they're going to kind of sit back and kind of let the Americans do all the heavy lifting with all the heavy bombs and you know, the hothead Trump, because Trump is a hothead. I don't know why people don't know. And he's a man of vengeance. If you haven't read his book, Art of the Deal, or Art of the, what was it? Art of, he's written two, Art of the, anyways, there's one of the books that he's written, and I've read, or I've listened to his audiobook, and he talks about vengeance, and he talks about the way he deals with his enemies. And it's not like you think, you know. Everybody's like, well, he didn't know what he was doing when he first came in. Everybody was against him, and he just kind of laid down and let it go. He should have fought for the country the first time. Well, this was all part of the plan. As I said from the very beginning, 2020, he was going to come back. He was going to rise from the dead. He was going to be the comeback kid. He was going to be the phoenix rising out of the ashes. And he was going to be beloved because of and I said this too, way back 2020, coming into the, you know, way before, that he would miraculously have a comeback. It would be a miraculous comeback. And I even said it would be he would come back from a political mortal head wound, because I use biblical terminology. Because I do believe that what I see happening right now in the world is an unfolding of some of these prophetic end time scenarios that are chronicled in the book of Revelation, Daniel, in the prophets, and even in the Psalms. There's a lot of prophecy. Jesus himself talked about this. And this is where we're at. And we're watching it all unfold right before our very eyes. Now, a lot of people have different interpretations of what the end times means. The Muslims have their interpretation, and even different sects of Islam have different interpretations. So the Shiites that are in Iran, they have a certain interpretation of what they believe is the advent of the Mahdi, or the Mahdi, whatever they call it. It's like a Messiah to them, right? And he will be ushered in, or what is it, the 10th Imam? I forget what they call him. But he will be ushered in by great chaos and disruption that's been brought to the earth. And the Shiites believe that they need to facilitate that. And so I'm sure they're going to commit themselves wholly to the task once they realize that Trump is going to annihilate whatever's, in the way of American interest and Israeli interest. So you're going to see this nuclear confrontation take place. Now, what's going to happen is Iran has stated that they're going to use, Yemen said this. The Yemenis, here, let's look at some of the news here. I want to get into the news because these articles are basically giving us a forecast of what's to come. So you got to pay real close attention to the articles that I'm going to be showing you. I'm looking at some of your comments before I go full board into the news here, because once I get into the news, I don't look at comments. So I'm just going to kind of look at some of your comments here. Yeah, is anybody having a problem watching? Just yeah, Art of the Insult. That's probably the book. Yeah, that's probably the name, Art of the Insult. He's got Art of the Deal, and he's got some other one, Art of something else. But um, we're in the birth pains. Yep. Um, let's see. Oh, silly woman, for sure, for sure. Who is the silly woman? I'll tell you who the silly woman is. Everybody should know. The only ones that don't know who the silly woman is are the silly women. The ones that are the silly women. They are the ones that don't know who they are. But all you out there that know, just you really can't convince them anyway. They're already too silly to even understand. You know, the light, the darkness comprehends not the light. The light has come into the world and the darkness comprehendeth it not. Okay, so they're not going to get it. You just got to let it go. Art of the comeback. That's it. Art of the comeback. That's it. Art of the comeback. This is taken right out of the playbook of Larry Nichols. How many of you guys know who Larry Nichols was? Because he's probably dead now. I think he had throat cancer and died. But he was the hatchet man of Bill Clinton as in his rise to power from Mena, Arkansas. And you know the history of Mena, Arkansas, and all the things, the corruption that was going on there. But he was definitely in the thick of the political fray, and he knows where all the dead bodies literally probably were buried. But he had a come to Jesus moment, and he began to spill his guts and talk about the plan and the way in which you win elections. And he basically laid it out exactly what the game plan is, and that's what Trump did. He basically followed that game plan. Because you never go into an election cycle and you never go in winning. You always come back right at the end. You come in and you rise up as the comeback. That's the way it works. So he talked all about that too. But yeah, there was some pretty. Anybody that knows Larry Nichols, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just go do some research on Larry Nichols, and you'll see it. I think I think we're going to see some really bad things happen. This is the short-term pain that Trump's talking about. I don't know. He knows something that we don't know that's coming, and I think I know already because my eyes are wide open. I'm not believing illusions and hopium talk. You know, the hopium talk, it's just a feel-good Band-Aid. It's not really helping anything. It's kind of like it's like a little Novocaine, but it's not going to really stop the deep. These are wounds that are deadly mortal type wounds that are coming. These aren't just scrapes and bruises. And this is why big time war is coming. This is why big time war is on the doorstep. We're not talking little wars. We're not talking Iraq wars. We're not talking, Afghanistan war. No, we're talking something much bigger than that. Unfortunately, with probably bigger weapons. All right, let's get into the material here. All right, let's see. Let me get my screen up really quick. Okay. Let's just start right. We'll just kind of go through the news right now. I'm just kind of going to go through some different news articles that are up right now. This is an earthquake that just happened. I believe it was in the Bay Area. A 4 point. I thought they said it was a 4 point or 3.9 in Dublin, California. So this just happened a little bit ago in Dublin, California, a 3.9, almost a 4-pointer. And there has been earthquakes happening along this fault line here in the last few weeks. So there might be something going down here in the Pacific Northwest and all along the coast here. Maybe this is the San Andreas. Maybe there'll be a big earthquake that'll just crack off California and it'll float out into the ocean. Not sure. But anyways, all right. So this is some of the latest here. This is coming from ABC News. ABC News is saying that Trump says that Iran will suffer dire consequences for any more Houthi attacks. Now, the Houthis have basically just stated that they attacked, and this is what they claim, that they've hit an aircraft carrier of the U.S. They've attacked an aircraft carrier twice within 24 hours. This is their claims, and we're looking at their Twitter page here. This is the Yemeni military's Twitter page. They're threatening that hypersonic missiles will be incoming to Tel Aviv. Hypersonic. Now, where they get hypersonic missiles from, I'm sure that Iran has a lot better technologies, as Iran has also threatened to use EMP-tipped hypersonic missiles. Do you know what that is? Does anybody know what an EMP-tipped hypersonic missile is? Do you think that the Israelis will be able to stop an EMP-tipped hypersonic missile? Just curious. Or do you think that the Americans, for that matter, could stop, these types of attacks? Because from what I understand, when Iran said, this is just Yemen. This is Yemen that's saying this. They're claiming that they have hypersonic missiles. But Iran claims to have EMP-tipped hypersonic missiles. And if you don't know what an EMP is, it's a detonation of some kind of device, which would most likely be nuclear, small nuclear yield, but I forget how it's a pulse that basically comes from, there's different types of nuclear detonations, and those that cause destruction and those that cause a pulse. The ones that are the pulse type detonations are usually done on a missile high up in the atmosphere, which will knock out electronics, basically fry any kind of delicate computer component. So anything that has a computer delicate circuitry is going to be useless. That includes your cars, all your new cars, and anything that's electronic, phones, computers. Basically, it will just kind of catapult you back into the 1800s. Just like that. And Heritage Foundation had done a study a while back, and a lot of what they call a think tank, and they had high-level politicians, military, technical people, business technical people in the field of electronics, and high-level military, and just a bunch of people thinking about this. What a think tank does, they just sit and think, what will happen if this happens? Okay, so they said, this is what would be the outcome of an EMP attack on the United States if it was a widespread attack, and that's just shutting off the electricity because it wouldn't be able to be repaired for quite some time. They said within a year, 90% of Americans would be dead just from having everything shut off. So think about that. Because you're so dependent on technology, especially people that are in the city, but even people that are rural, they are a lot more dependent than they realize. Try shutting off your power for 24 hours or even just a few days and see how long you can get along without power. So this is what Iran is claiming. Now, we're just talking about a smaller regional power, something that may be a par or akin to Israel's technology. Now, I'm sure Israel has a lot better technologies, but think about a country like Russia or China, because Russia is an ally. Russia is in their own little NATO. They have their own NATO, you know. So if anything happens to Iran, you know, Russia is bound by treaty or by, I guess they made a military pact recently in the last couple months. I guess it's been about the last year or so. They've been doing a lot of military exercises with China and Russia. But if anything happens to Iran, or they're in some kind of dire strait or potential attack from the United States or Israel for that matter, one and the same. Just say U.S. Israel, because they're basically doing they're basically doing their operations together. That Russia would come to their aid. Russia is bound, just like if we were to have a NATO country under attack, that the U.S. is bound to come, one for all for one, and one for all. And so that's what has happened. And this is a part of the BRICS, I think, too, the BRIC nations and their pact that they've made economically. So they've done economics, they've done, their trade and their military. And they're all in this group of nations that is trying to, have America stand down, that America is not going to continue. This is the way they think, that America is not going to continue to be the as they perceive it, the bully of the world, or as they perceive it to be the police of the world. They don't want America to continue to control commerce through their currency, through the world reserve currency of the dollar. So this is why I think Trump is basically shouting from the mountaintops about Bitcoin being the reserve currency now of the U.S., that we're going to somehow try to gain some ascendancy in the control of the global commerce through Bitcoin, because the American dollar is dying, if you didn't know. Many countries are divesting themselves of our dollars. They're dumping dollars or de-dollarizing. Like Russia doesn't even use American dollars anymore. I think they're at least 90% in their own currency, if not 100%. Many countries like China are doing the same. But China is obviously still connected in many ways, but they are also doing the de-dollarizing, or de-dollarizing their economy, as well as all the other BRIC nations. They're encouraging to do the same. And this is for the purpose of bringing the U.S. to heel in their minds. Now, I'm not saying this is what I'm saying. This is what they think. So I'm just laying out the scenario so that you can understand where we're at and what may be coming. So this has been in the works for quite some time. This has been going on for at least 10 years, the BRICS. And all these military alliances have been developing. Now, Yemen has stated that the sirens will sound in Tel Aviv again, and it will soon be within the range of our hypersonic missiles. And that's not good. That is not good at all. These types of threats. Now, they say that they've attacked our aircraft carriers, and there has been reports that there were drone attacks, missile attacks that were directed at our aircraft carriers. So we have responded. The U.S. has hit many bases and systems that they had, electronic, what do they call it? The radar systems and their missiles. I'm sure they have a lot of mobile. They're trying to shut down the Strait of Aden. I believe it's the Strait of Aden, which is in the Red Sea. So this is a very important strait for commerce and global supply chain. And if this is in any way affected, and this is why America's in there, supposedly, we're there to keep those waterways open. And we're doing this to the Yemenis for that reason, to make sure those waterways are open. Now, if Iran is really behind Yemen, which I believe they are a proxy of Iran. They have Iranian missile technology. Is it possible that they might be able to hit one of our aircraft carriers or one of our military ships? Hypersonic missiles. There's a good possibility that might happen. 3 hours ago, the Yemeni armed forces announced the implementation of a third phase of the response operation to the aggression against our country. It says, in recent hours, now, like I said, I'm not taking any sides in this struggle here. I'm just reporting what I see as happening and where I think it could possibly go. Dispassionately, I'm just sharing with you what I see. That's it. Okay? And what I think it's going to go. In recent hours, the Yemeni armed forces were able to target the U.S. aircraft carrier, USS Harry Truman, in the northern Red Sea with 2 cruise missiles and 2 drone aircraft, as well as to target a U.S. destroyer with a cruise missile and 4 drones. Now, they didn't say hypersonic. They just said cruise missile. Now, a hypersonic missile is a little different, isn't it? Can somebody confirm that a hypersonic missile is not a cruise missile and a hypersonic missile goes much faster than a cruise missile, and that a hypersonic missile cannot be defended against, even on a high-tech aircraft carrier? Is this true? Anybody out there want to chime in that's military? Go ahead. Tell me in the comments if that's accurate in my description of what a hypersonic missile is. And if it's true that the Yemenis have a hypersonic missile, and they sure do sound like they're boasting about what they think is about to happen, I mean, they probably wouldn't mind destroying a couple of U.S. warships, even if they got annihilated off the face of the earth, just because they want to go to Allah, Maybe this is their moment of glory, and they believe they're going to be promoted and receive their 72 virgins in this big mushroom cloud that is about to descend upon their country. But in the process, they might, feel like they have a victory by taking out a couple of our, warships. I'm telling you, that's the way they think. I mean, you see suicide bombers doing this all the time. Why wouldn't a country be a suicide country? I mean, you could say they're a suicide nation. Well, they say they love death more than you love life. They love death more than you love life. If they can say that, then you're dealing with crazy, right? You're dealing with crazy. Okay, so I'm looking at some of your comments there, and is there any military people in the house that are able to confirm or deny what I just said about the hypersonics? Is it true? So Pablo says it's true, but Pablo, who are you? Is anybody here military? Just kind of curious. Anybody here that want to say something about what I'm saying, if it's true or not? That a hypersonic missile is different than a cruise missile. I'm kind of curious. But I'm pretty sure from what I've heard that a hypersonic missile is a lot different than a cruise missile, and that a cruise missile can still be defended against. I hear banjo from all the inbreeding over there. Banjo where? Banjo where? A hypersonic missile goes above Mach 5. Cruise missile only 500 miles an hour. Oh, my Lord. So, Brass Monkey, are you confirming to me that a hypersonic missile cannot be defended against? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Just say yay or nay. Can a hypersonic missile be defended against on a warship of one of our carriers or whatever? Can they defend against an incoming hypersonic? Yes or no? Just curious. Because I don't know. I mean, maybe our new technology in lasers can do it, but I've heard people say that it's not possible. I've heard people say it's not possible. Tony says, yes, of course, we can stop a hypersonic missile. Brass Monkey says, yes, I don't know yet. Maybe. Maybe. Come on. That's not very comforting. And what happens if one of our ships goes up in a big old puff of smoke here? What's going to happen? It depends. Diane, are you talking about the depends that you wear, or are you talking about depends on maybe it's possible? Are they going to be wearing depends as these missiles come in, or what? It can be. Don't know if our warships are equipped, though. Scott, thank you very much, bro. Bro, I did post that video of Nacho, and I loved it. I loved it. When it says all the bro wants is to make sure all he wants to do is make sure his bro is saved, and he baptizes him in the water forcefully. That's what I feel like doing to some of you out there. I feel like I have to have an intervention and just, get you baptized, because we're about to fight the cavemen of Satan. Tony says depends again. Depends. I think that's what they're going to be wearing is depends. If they cannot defend, they're going to have to wear some depends. I hope that these guys can defend against these hypersonics. I really do. I really hope that these ships are not going to be sitting ducks, because there's a lot of men on those ships, and we would not want to see anything terrible happen. So we should be praying for all of our men out there on the shipping, in the shipping pathways. Brass Monkey says, all right, it may not be defended against, but a laser weapon in theory might be able to do it. Well, I hope they have laser weapons out there, because it sounds very possible and very likely too that Yemen may in fact have these hypersonics. Now, let's just look at it like this. Does Yemen and the Yemenis military want their country to be completely obliterated? That is the question that you have to ask, because maybe they think that they can escape in their deep underground bunkers, and that the people on the surface won't, they're going to have to die anyway. So, they might have that kind of mindset, and it could be a religious mindset too. Some of these extreme, ideologies that some of these leaders in these religious countries, because this is a religious country, it's a religious mindset that governs this country. They could have that mindset that they want to be martyred. So you have to be thinking about the possibility that they could do something like that. As a Sempter Service says, as a nation, the Yemenis probably do not have that type of weaponry, but as there are allies with Iran and our allies North Korea, they could. See, that's what I think, Sempter. I think that they've been given that technology already. I think that it's in the interests of Iran as their front proxy in the war, because they look at this as a war that against the U.S., that this would be the first line of defense, is to make sure that those waterways are shut down and that the confrontation with the U.S. takes place, with Yemen first. And maybe it'll be a pot, where all the countries jump in at the same time and fight, because I think that's kind of what I'm sensing. I'm seeing that there's some posts about Hezbollah and Hamas now joining into the fight and getting prepared to fight. Maybe this is going to happen concurrently, and Iran as well at the same time. Maybe they feel like they're only hope of even pushing back instead of being isolated and picked on, because that's what I think they feel. I think that's what it's the way it's coming across, is that we're going to pick them off one at a time. And maybe they realize that that is truly our intention, is to take them down. And maybe they think it's better that we go down fighting together than, isolated and kind of trying to hold our defensive position by ourselves. So I think there might be some kind, and who knows, Russia might be in on this too. Maybe the Russians are going to be doing something as well. My sense is they're not just going to go down single, by themselves. I just think it's going to be it's going to be an all-out war, and it's going to happen pretty quick. I mean, it'll happen suddenly when it does happen. Pablo says Trump will go Netanyahu 2.0 to Yemen. Yeah, hypersonics are very fast. Yeah, 4 times faster, or even more than that. It's probably more than 4 times faster, DD, than a conventional cruise missile. Yeah, buckle up, Joe. Get your freeze-dried eggs. Absolutely. Get the freeze-dried eggs. That definitely, we got lots of protein in one little bag. Yep. And everybody needs to get prepared, whether it's electrical, like having your off-grid power. You might need some of that. You need make sure you have a clean source of water that you can access that's not dependent on power. If you have, you're in a city and you're dependent on power to get your water, and the power goes out, you're not going to be able to get no water. You need water. You got to have water. So make sure you have water supply, extra food. I would say freeze-dried is probably the best kind of food you can get. It tastes better. You don't want to get that dehydrated stuff. It's kind of doesn't taste good, especially after it's been stored for a while. At least freeze-dried tastes somewhat better. I don't even think it's not good to eat freeze-dried every day, but when you're hungry and you're starving and you need something, it's better to eat freeze-dried than it is that other stuff. But I'd say, do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to fish? Do you know how to grow a garden? Or do you live in a rural area where you can access local farmers maybe to barter with? Do you have something to barter with? You better have something to barter with. Because if there is anything that, if it goes the way I think it's going to go, you're going to need to have a community that is kind of looking after each other. All right, so let's go look at some news. I know I'm just lollygagging here, but okay. So he said that the targeting of this aircraft carrier is the third within the past 48 hours. So 48 hours, third time, and the enemy has been left in a state of confusion, which led many of their warships to retreat towards the Northern Sea. A planned aerial attack against our country was also thwarted. Wow. I wonder if that's true. Or is this just propaganda? Is it true or a propaganda? Are we hearing propaganda from our end? Is what our government telling us true? Will we ever really know? Like, how do we know? The American aggressor bears full responsibility for the consequences of militarizing the Red Sea and expanding the scope of confrontation by continuing its aggression against Yemen, which negatively affects international shipping. Oh, boy. These are their drones, I guess. They got pictures of their drones and pictures of missiles going off. I guess we're going to find out where this goes real soon. That was only posted 3 hours ago. So that was just 3 hours ago. So the Yemenis army has 9 hours ago. It says that they raised their readiness to carry out a third phase of the response. And that third phase, I guess, has already happened. 6 hours ago, they said a major security event is unfolding in the region right now. So something happened in the last 3 hours. This was 9 hours ago. The U.S. aircraft carrier Harry Truman has fled after being targeted by missiles from Yemeni army. retreating 1,300 kilometers away from Yemen. This makes it difficult for it to launch a new aggression against. Now, they might have retreated because, if that's true, because of the hypersonics, because they knew they would be hit. It's a possibility, but we don't know for sure. What is this? The Yemeni army has raised its readiness level to carry out third phase of our aggression against our country and is waiting the signal from leadership to execute operation. Let's see. And I know that's probably just to show what they can do. Okay. Let's see what we got in the news here. In the last few hours, we looked at that one. Let's just go up here real quick. Israel says it is conducting extensive strikes on Gaza Strip. That's happening in the last 44 minutes. North Korea condemns the U.S. strikes against Yemen. That was in 42 minutes ago. That was Al Arabiya English. North Korea condemns the U.S. strikes against Yemen. See KCNA. That's interesting. Okay. This says that the Houthis claim an attack on a U.S. aircraft carrier. What we know. Now, they really didn't say a whole lot about whether or not that actually did happen in this article. This is a Newsweek article. It says that the Houthis, an Iran-backed Yemen armed group, claim to have carried out attacks on the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Harry Truman in the Red Sea with ballistic missiles, drones after Trump launched airstrikes against them. U.S. military CENTCOM said it would continue operations against the Iran-backed militant group. The Houthis operate in the Red Sea, one of the world's most important shipping routes, and their attacks can hamper global trade by forcing vessels to divert and pushing up security, fuel, and insurance costs. That can have an impact on inflation worldwide. Their links to Iran also make them an important front in the proxy war that Tehran has been waging against Israel and which also targets its U.S. ally. What to know? The group known as Ansar Allah said it attacked the USS Harry Truman twice in the past 24 hours, and that was probably 6 hours ago. This is probably an article that's about 6 or 8 hours old. And it says, and drones in a retaliation operation that lasted for 7 hours, the military spokesman Sari said on Monday. CENTCOM released a 16-second video clip of an aircraft carrier or an aircraft preparing for takeoff and said that forces continue operations against Iran-backed Houthi terrorists. CENTCOM announced on Saturday the launch of an operation that was consisting of strikes against Houthi targets across Yemen, saying the goal is to restore freedom of navigation. President Trump announced on Saturday that he had ordered decisive and powerful military action against the Houthis. Earlier this month, Secretary of State Rubio relisted the Houthis as a terrorist organization, with the U.S. sanctioning 7 senior members for smuggling weapons into Yemen and negotiating arms deals with Russia. That's interesting. Okay. All right, this one here is a Hal Turner article, and it says that U.S. military surveillance aircraft was seen circling Iran nuclear power plant. And this is the nuclear power plant here It's called Bashir. And that's in Iran. And there you go. You've got a U.S. reconnaissance surveillance military aircraft that's circling out there close by, surveilling the situation in the Persian Gulf. And they've taken up circling patterns near the power plant. The aircraft's call sign is over LDO2, has been loitering for hours each day. For hours, just hanging out there. You see that? Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a doozy. And that's the power plant that it's monitoring. Why do they always have these nuclear power plants that are right on the ocean? It's always like, Fukushima, and we've got, isn't the 3 Mile Island in the U.S. also on the ocean too? It seems like they're always right there on the ocean. Since no nation in its right mind would deliberately attack a nuclear power plant, one wonders what the U.S. is doing there. That is a good question. Okay, so let's go and look at our Telegram page and check out some of the latest things going on there. And I do want to thank my wife for maintaining the Telegram page. She does a lot of posting there. I do post as well, but she does the majority of the posting and research. So she's always up on top of the news. But it says here that Palestinian media is now reporting that over 200 are dead. And I heard that the numbers were up in the 250 range. And I've seen lots of videos coming in that are pretty graphic and showing lots of children, a lot of children. Not a good sight. Not a pretty sight. A lot of hurt, wounded children and some dead ones. And a lot of civilians that are being killed. So it's not good. And those types of images are only going to stir up even more backlash. And I'm just talking about the backlash. I'm just talking about reality here. It's not like we're taking sides, but we're understanding the nature of the conflict and how it's going to have an effect upon you and I and our country, just so you know. Okay, this isn't talking bad about the U.S. or our government or what we're doing. It's just that the reality is that we're going to have a backlash. This hell that we're going to bring is it's not going to just stay there, okay? It's going to spread. It has a way of spreading, okay? So, just so you know, tonight was not a one-off. This is a move that will intensify over the coming weeks. So they're promising more and more and more as time goes on. Defense Minister of Israel, Katz, has said, if Hamas does not release all the hostages, the gates of hell will open in Gaza, and the murderers and rapists of Hamas will meet the IDF with forces they have never known before. I wonder what that is. I wonder what kind of forces they're talking about there. Forces that they've never known before. Is that a new kind of weapon? What do you think they're talking about? IDF ground forces are also prepared to resume intensified military operations in Gaza. And that was a pretty interesting little dream. The United States was informed in advance, and Trump personally gave the green light to Israel to resume the war on Gaza. It says Israel is resuming the war, and it's now carrying out airstrikes in Lebanon and Syria as well, not just Gaza. So this is an ongoing, expanding regional war that is taking much, territory, or as the Israelis like to call it, a buffer zone. And they're making buffer zones for their security. Obviously, they are, hedged in on all sides. But, yeah, this is going to continue to expand. What is this picture here? Picture of them. My goodness, it looks like is that picture even real? It seems like hellscape, and you got somebody that's trying to keep warm by a fire, and there's nothing left for miles around. Smoldering ruins. Just smoldering ruins. Isn't that crazy? I mean, look at this picture. I mean, is this AI or is this literally a real picture? You have to wonder. You have to ask yourself if this is even, you can't even tell now if something's AI or not, but it looks real. I mean, this is disclosed TV, but look at that. Does that not just look dystopian type, a dystopian feel to it? It just looks unreal. Al-Awda Hospital, located in central Gaza. Hold on one second. I just want to see what he said here. That's so stupid. Okay, so it says that located in central Gaza say they've received 70 injuries in the past 30 minutes. Okay, so these are older from earlier today, but I wanted to show you what Tucker said. Tucker Carlson said this. It's worth pointing out that a strike on the Iranian nuclear sites, which almost certainly, will almost certainly result in thousands of American deaths at bases throughout the Middle East. So I'm guessing he's saying that if we strike these nuclear power plants, that it's going to have a nuclear fallout. Is that what he's talking about, nuclear fallout? Or is he just talking about the military repercussions of, retaliation? He's talking about thousands of American deaths at bases throughout the Middle East. That will cost the United States tens of billions of dollars. The cost of future acts of terrorism on American soil may be even higher. Because we have lots of Muslims living in the United States, right? You guys know that? We're one of the biggest Muslim countries in the world. Did you know that? The United States. Just so you know. So it says the cost of tens of billions of dollars. And by the way, if you're in a city that has a big, large Muslim population, you should be thinking about this. You should be thinking about what's going on very, very, very seriously. Or if you're anywhere near a large population, just in general. I think just even being in an area where there's a large population of people in general is something that you should be thinking about. Because people when have you heard that saying, when people don't have anything left to lose, they lose it. When they have nothing left to lose, they lose it. Now, I'll just say that. I'm going to leave it at that for right now. I won't go into any darker realms here, but we're going to just keep it light for the moment. The cost of future acts of terrorism on American soil may be even higher. These aren't guesses. He's saying this is not a guess. These are the Pentagon's own estimates. A bombing campaign against Iran will set off a war, and it will be America's war. Don't let the propagandists lie to you. People are believing a lot of hopium right now. They're caught up in they're in a drunken stupor from the election. Do you know what's going to wake them up? Is this hot war. That's what's going to wake them up. Because many people are fast asleep. They've been sedated with hopium. Reality is about to dawn, and it's not going to be pretty. Now, this is a interesting commentary that I see here. Let's see it. It says this marks the beginning of bloodshed unlike the world has ever seen. Right after the blood moon on Purim, that blood moon happened a few days ago, and we speculated that this was a sign, and many have speculated that it was a sign. I've looked at a few different rabbis that said that this was a bad omen for the West and also for the Muslim world. He said that this would also bring about famine in the West. This is what he said. This is one of the pretty well-known rabbis that were interpreting the omens, the signs, right? They look at celestial signs as well and interpret them. These are probably Kabbalists, but they said there's an idea out there amongst them about what it means, the way it's positioned, what constellation. By the way, it was in the constellation, the blood red moon of Virgo. Did you know that? Yeah. And it was right at her head when it was full blood red, when it was a full on blood red moon. It was right at the head of Virgo. And so they said that this bode bad for the West, not just the Muslims, but also the West. And they mentioned famine. Well, this comes at a time when Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, had made a warning about spring crops not being picked because there are nobody to pick them. They're all afraid. A lot of them are not legal, and they don't want to be deported, and so they're not going to work. And he said on a video that he doesn't know how all these crops are going to be picked, how they're going to be harvested. There may be some big problems. And there's other problems with our food supply as well. And a lot of people aren't talking about it. Chicken eggs are another. I say chickens are the canary in the coal mine. The chicken eggs were kind of a prophecy, if you will, that we kind of gave a little bit ago, that they were going to run short and they were going to be golden. They're going to be giving out golden eggs. You got to get chickens in order if you want to keep getting some eggs. But I think the eggs are the canary in the coal mine of things to come. This is going to tell you that there are bad things that are going to affect you. You know, when you say a canary in a coal mine, I say a chicken in a coal mine, a canary in a coal mine. When you say that, the reason why they use that phrase, canary in a coal mine, is that before there was technology to detect noxious fumes that would kill you, miners would take a canary because they have a small circulatory system and a lung system, and it's a microcosm of a human, right? And so they would monitor the canary. If the canary died in the cage, that means that you're next. Okay? That means you're next. So eggs, chickens, what comes next? Your beef, you know, all of your other food supply sources are going to be affected, and then you. So think about that. This, along with a surge in anti-Semitism and hate towards America, Christians, is all officially here. Muslims will rise up worldwide and unleash attacks Peace has been removed from the earth. The red horse is riding again, or riding already. If you still live in blue states or cities, you better be prepared for what comes next. It's not going to be pretty. Bible prophecy unfolding before our very eyes. Pray. Amen. This just shows some of the footage of the bombing in Gaza. Just some of the bombing that's going on there. But anyways, just wanted to kind of touch base with you guys a little bit tonight. I know it's very late. It's probably 1 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 10 o'clock here on the left coast, the liberal left coast. Not that I'm anywhere close to it, but still a part of the left coast, I guess. If Yellowstone ever blew, I'm sure that I would be one of the ones saying sayonara pretty quick. It's still considered part of the left coast, right? It's supposed to take out half the continent if it ever goes up. If the big one ever does happen in terms of geological, catastrophes, it would be the Yellowstone going up, kind of like 2012. Woody Harrelson. It's so beautiful. I have goosebumps, people. He's broadcasting the end of the world. People always said it. I think you're like Woody Harrelson in that movie. Not really. Hey, they're releasing the JFK files right in the thick of all this. Isn't that amazing? What about the Epstein files? What about UFO disclosure? Where's that? Where's all those things that were supposed to be? Trust the plan. Trust Sessions. Trust Barr. It's all going to come out eventually. I just hope that you're able to see it because you're not going to be distracted by all kinds of chaos going on in the world. You won't be able to focus on it and find out really what happened because there's not going to be anybody talking about it because they're going to be so fixated with World War III in the news. If you know what I mean. But anyways, I was thinking about that fog. Remember that crazy fog that came out and everybody got really kind of sick? And they said it was fog all over the whole of the United States. How many of you guys in the chat room, when all that talk about that weird fog happened, how many of you guys saw the fog? I'm just curious. Type 1 in the chat if you saw fog in your city, anywhere in the United States, in that little time frame of a few days. And because we saw it too. And I'm way over here in the middle of nowhere. And I saw fog at that same time. Did any of you out there see it? I want to see how many people saw fog. Type 1 if you saw the fog, the really strange fog that many people said just all of a sudden happened. And everybody said they felt sick after it smelled funny and they felt sick. How many people saw the fog? Just out of curiosity. All at the same time. The fog was parasites, do a ginger cleanse. Okay, so I saw the movie. So you guys all saw the fog. Okay. Danielle, you did not see the fog? Okay. We got sick. You saw it. Govinda, you saw it and you got sick. Ooh, that's crazy. Okay, so what is so weird about it is that the whole country saw the fog. And a lot of people felt sick and kind of had a weird cough. A lot of people got kind of this weird cold or cough kind of thing. And when you're on the coast, you always see fog. I know. So, Brass Monkey, you're in Washington, you always see fog. That's just the way it is. But people that were were not normally seeing fog, all of a sudden saw fog all at the same time, all across the whole of the country on the same day almost. I know when I saw it, it was like right around within a 24-hour period, I saw the same thing. And I haven't seen fog before that or since, except for that one day. Tell me that's not weird. Okay? Tell me that's not weird. Because everybody else saw it too. Now, the thing I wanted to point out was, if you've ever looked at A.A. Allen's prophecy from 1953, I think it was, when it wasn't really a prophecy per se, it was a vision that he had. He went to the top of the Empire State Building, and he was looking out through one of those little telescopes, but he had a vision, and a part of the vision was where this was about the time when we're attacked by these missiles from the ocean on both coasts, a nuclear sneak attack. The very same scenario almost as Dimitri Duduman's prophecy, which I think is very interesting. But anyways, in his vision, he sees the Statue of Liberty at a certain point, this big figure that looks very demonic, like a skeleton, over the top of the whole of America, comes over part of Canada, and it blows from east to west, this fog, and everybody starts coughing. He blows it from east to west, and it's a white puff of smoke that goes out from east to west, and the whole country gets blanketed in this white fog, and everybody starts coughing. And it's at that time that the Statue of Liberty is seen like a drunken woman in the Gulf of Mexico, or as we should say now, the Gulf of California. And it starts staggering, and it falls into the ocean, and then it tries to get back up, and it almost stands back up, but it's still swaying. And then it clutches its chest, and it starts coughing out its lungs, and then it falls back into the ocean on its face, not to get back up again. Which may, I think, have something to do with the symbolic representation of the oil, because a lot of our oil comes from the Gulf, but it could also mean something to focus on this, region of the Gulf being. Anyways, I think it has a symbol, because he said he didn't see it, in New York where it normally is. He said he saw it in the Gulf of Mexico. And, but this white fog and mist went all throughout. I thought that was really interesting, because I kind of thought about it being connected to this little cough that people were getting. And I know that a lot of people got this cough. The Gulf of America, yeah. And what I thought was interesting is that, yeah. Tamara says, telling everybody to use oregano, ginger, cinnamon, cloves, dandelion, castor oil, and cleanse. Also, colloidal silver spray. Okay. That's all good stuff, yeah. What about plagues and diseases? Yeah. I don't know. If you got to wear a gas mask, it's pretty much, that's it. Do you still want to even live if you got to wear a gas mask? It's just going to be like, okay, I'll just breathe it in, whatever. No, I think that God will protect those that are his own. And even if he doesn't, just like the three Hebrew children said, and even if he doesn't, we're still not going to bow down and serve you. I would rather not be a part of a beast kingdom if they promised me life, but I'd have to bow down and serve them. I'd rather not. But hey, just so you know, I want to make a little note here for those who are into the eggs. The eggs are definitely 4 dozen eggs in a bag. The greatest eggs you could ever eat. All you got to do is 1 part water, 1 part egg powder. And it's really like a crystal type gold. And I think Trump really, you know what? I think Trump actually likes them. Look at this. Look at this. Did you guys see this? I think something happened here. Trump must be watching our program or something, because look at this. Look at this. Look, do you notice in the background there what he's got sitting on the table? You know, he's turned the whole White House gold. You know, everything is gold now in the White House. They've got golden mantle. They got gold. It kind of looks like one of the third world. It almost reminds me of Muammar Gaddafi's little palace or something, because everything was gold, you know, like everything. Some of these countries where they're all into gold, everything's gold, you know. But Trump's doing this to the White House now. Everything is, they should just call it the Gold House, because everything's gold. And they got the golden eggs in the background there. Look at that. Can you see that? Look. Here's a close-up picture of it. Look. Look at that. Can you see that? And for those that are visually impaired, I made an even closer picture. Oh, wait. I got it. Did I do it right? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. Here, let me get a better picture here. Right. Hold on. Did I do this? Okay, there we go. Here. Oh, shoot. It's so... Hold on. It's so big. Did I really screw that up? Okay, here we go. I thought I had it so you could see it. Oh, great. What is going on here? All right, here we go. So this is for the visually impaired. If you can't see, you know, I thought, okay, whoops. There's the one. Do you see the gold? Look at that gold. That's probably real gold. Everything on that mantle is real gold. He's got a golden phoenix that's rising up out of the ashes as a table holder. Did you see that? Probably solid gold. And there it is, right from the factory. There you go. Get your freeze-dried eggs. The links are in the description. Order it now. We got good prices, and it also helps support the channel. Just a little plug for the golden eggs. And by the way, there's a scripture that talks about golden eggs too. Did you know that? It says, and I'm going to read it to you. It's a little devotional too while we're at it. Might as well have a little devotional. What do you think? It says, the Oompa Loompas. That's really funny. Hopefully it's still here. Didn't I post it here? Oh yeah, here it is. It says, Luke chapter 11, verses 11 through 13. Now suppose one of you fathers is asked by his son for a fish. He will not give him a snake instead of a fish, will he? Why would you give your son a snake if you ask for something to eat like a fish? You're going to give him a snake so it bites him? Unless you're a foolish woman and you let the snake in, yeah, then you're going to get bitten, right? You know, the snake poem, you know? You thought he was going to, so beautiful. He was half dead politically. You embraced him. You brought him back in, and then he bit you with a terrible war. And it says, but if you're a person that has a son and that you love him, you're going to give him something good, right? You're not going to give him something bad. Only the devil would want to harm you as a human, right? If you have children, you take care of your children. Verse 12, or if he asks for an egg, will he not give him a scorpion? He's not going to give him a scorpion. He'll give him an egg. Why would he give him a scorpion? Scorpion's going to bite him. But if you then, being evil, and obviously we're fallen humans, right? He's likening us as humans to God, right? He says, if you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more your heavenly Father will give you the Holy Spirit for those who ask him. So he's likening even eggs to the Holy Spirit. You know, good gifts that you give to your children, God the Father is going to want to give you the Holy Spirit. He's going to give you a good gift. Whatever gift that is, you ask in faith, trust God. He's going to provide for you. He's not going to give you something bad. You know, life is tough. Things are terrible in this world. Obviously, it's a dark place, and there are evil, demonic beings that are trying to control the planet, but they can't control you if you give your heart to God. If God's for you, if God be for you, who can be against you, right? If God be for you, who can be against you? If you have given your whole heart and life to God, then God is going to protect you. And I don't mean just protect you physically. He's going to protect your soul. He's going to protect your mind. He's going to protect your heart. And he'll protect you if you have to traverse over the Jordan and going into his presence. He's not going to let you be taken and snatched. You're not going to be going to the hot place with the enemy, of humanity and the enemy of God, because there's no one that can take you out of his hand. So ask, seek, knock, ask God for good gifts. He's going to give you good gifts. And trust him. That's the key. How do you gain trust? Trust, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Spend time in the Bible. Spend time prayerfully contemplating the truths of the ancients. The pathways that are ancient. You don't want to go to these new pathways of transhumanism and the technology that's supposedly going to get us to the stars and going to make us into cyborgs, and we're going to no longer, be human because we're going to be GMO'd. We're going to somehow have implants in our brains to make us one with the gods of the AI, whatever that is. AI, alien technology, alien intelligence, or is it artificial intelligence? Who wants to be a GMO'd artificial hybrid? Just raise your hand, roll up your sleeve, because you're going to get the injection to become a hybrid. That's not going to be me. I'm not going to take it. You can, all those people that are going to inhabit the freedom cities can take it. I'm not going to take it. You can have your freedom and your hybrid, cyborg fellowship over there. And I'll stay out in the wilderness and hang out with my posse out there where the fish and the deer and the antelope roam. But in the meantime, get some eggs. This is how you support our channel. Or donate. You guys can donate. If you don't want to get any eggs and you like what we're doing, donate. There's a donate button below. We definitely could use some support at this time. But I do appreciate and love all you out there. And make sure you hang out with us on our daily devotional. Every morning, at mid-morning, early afternoon, we have a devotional. And then on Sundays, we have a Sunday service. So make sure you show up and be a part of the fellowship and the gathering of the saints. Amen. All right. God bless you guys. Have a great afternoon, a great evening, and a great morning. If I don't see you, as Truman would say, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening if I don't see you. All right. God bless.